welcome to All in Yellow,
the official Norwich City podcast.
This is your official Norwich City podcast, bringing you insight and experiences from some of your favourite Norwich City names.
Rely on our youth and our academy. We need to implement a bit special style of playing.
Players are not afraid of going on loan. They know that can go and be the next Todd Cantwell.
I like the atmosphere at Carrow Road, and I think our fans are great, and it enriches my life.
Make sure you subscribe to the All in Yellow podcast as we aim to bring the best Norwich City insight out there. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just search All in Yellow, and we're on the Norwich City YouTube channel. That's if you prefer your podcasts in visual form.
Orjan, welcome to Norwich City. First of all, just tell us how pleased you are to get this deal all sorted.
Thank you so much. I'm really pleased. Finally, the waiting time is over, and I'm looking back to get out on the pitch and perform again.
You've been without a club since October. Just tell us what the last couple of months have been like for you.
Yeah, I parted ways with the Villa in October, and a couple of weeks after that, I had an episode where my back just gave me lower leg pain, and I had to just take some time off just to make sure I get rid of it. So I had to have a surgery, and after that it's only been rehabbing and trying to get back and find a new club, which I now have, and I'm really pleased about that. So I'm looking forward to the time now.
Yeah, has the injury made, obviously the transfer window at the minute that we're in, has it made that slightly difficult in finding new clubs?
No, I wouldn't say so. I've had a lot of offers really, but when Norwich came along, I wasn't doubtful at all. It felt like the right thing to do, and I have had good talks with the manager, the goalkeeper coach, and the sporting director. So it was an easy choice really. So a no-brainer. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, what impressed you most from those conversations you had with Stuart Webber, Daniel Farke?
Just the fact that they're like really down to earth. Looks like a family club. They're really friendly. We had a good chat for hours the last time I was there a couple of weeks ago. So it was really good talks really, and just felt like the right thing to do.
And have you had a chance to look around the facilities, the training ground? Obviously, we're here at Carrow Road, and the training ground as well. What have you made of what you've seen?
Yeah, I've had a look at the training ground, and it looks really good. Obviously, there's a new build as well with the gym, and the facilities are really good. I had a walk around the pitches at the training ground as well. I've played it before as well, so I know the city and the stadium from before as well. So it looks really good, and I'm ready to go.
Did you speak to anyone that you've known who've got connections with Norwich City, and what did they say that maybe persuaded you to join the club?
Yeah, I spoke a little bit with Alex the other day, and I know he's been talking great of the club since he's been here, and he's really enjoyed his stay here, which gave me it was just confirming what I really thought about the club as well.
Yeah, you've got experience already playing in the Championship with Villa. Do you think that'll help you settle in a lot quickly? Yeah,
I hope so. I've been in this league and I've been in the Premier League as well. So I'll try to bring my experience and just train hard every week and get ready for every game, and then contribute with what I can. And that's my goal for the rest of the season really.
And where are you at in terms of your current fitness at the minute?
I'm really pleased at the level where I'm at now. I'm still a couple of weeks off, I think, so we're gonna assess it properly together with the whole team at the club, and then we're gonna start working straight away, really, on the plan of full fitness, and hopefully I can be back on the grass in not too long of a time.
Yeah, I'm sure you can't wait to get started with your new teammates.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I've met many of the lads already, and I've heard great stuff about all of them, so I'm really looking forward to meet everyone and just get going.
Dimitris, welcome to Norwich City Football Club. First of all, how do you feel to make the move here?
I'm really happy to be here. It was a dream to play for an English team, and now it's true. I will give my best.
Can you tell us what the last few days have been like for you?
Okay, it was a little bit busy days, but I'm here, and I can't wait to get in the pitch with the other teammates.
And we know that you're a left back. Can you tell us the type of fullback that you are?
Yes, I'm left back. I'm a fast player. I like to attack and run fast into defense when it's needed.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey in football so far, some of the other teams that you've played for?
I played in lower division in Greece for some teams. Then PAOK bought me. I was on loan for 5 years, and then I came back to PAOK. I played the last 2 years, and now I'm here.
How much of Norwich have you seen on TV this season or last season in the Premier League?
Last season I watched the most of the games, but this season is difficult in Greece to watch Championship, so no one game.
It must have been encouraging to see the types of fullbacks that we have here, the kind of players that go up and down the wing, and it sounds like you're going to fit into that.
Yes, I like this style of football, and I hope I adapt soon the way of playing and to help the team to get promoted.
Yeah. So what would you say are the main things that attracted you to this club specifically?
I know it's a big club. I know that they informed me that here the people are very professional, and I saw some videos with the training center, all this stuff, and I felt like I had to come here.
And how much was the potential of playing in the Premier League a factor as well?
That was, let's say, the biggest reason I'm here. I'm here to help the team to get promoted and then play in the Premier League. This is my dream, and this will happen, maybe.
Do you know any of the players here already? Are you aware of the guys that are going to become your teammates?
Yes, I know some players, but not personally. I know Timo Pukki. We played against in Nations League against Finland.
What was it like when you played against Pukki in the Nations League?
We knew he's the most dangerous player of Finland, so we got an eye on him. He's a top player, and it's nice to play with him in the same team.
Yeah, so finally it sounds like you're really happy to be here and looking forward to the challenge of getting Norwich back up to the Premier League.
Yes, I'm really happy. Can't wait to get in the pitch and play football and help the team get promoted, as I said before.
A man just going round and over time, and I don't want lovely. Branchett, edge of the penalty area. Through for Pukki. Is this the chance for Pukki? Yes,
Hi everyone, Tim Crow here. Just a quick message to say a massive thank you to everyone involved with the East Anglian ambulance team. Obviously all the crew, the control rooms, everybody, support staff, NHS people, everyone involved with this massive effort to keep the pandemic under control. You guys are the real heroes and are the engine really to get out of this crazy period. Keep up the amazing work. We are proud of you guys, and hopefully we're out of this period soon and to better times. So great. Thank you so much, guys. See you soon.
Good evening and welcome to the Lions Den. Norwich City away today at Millwall Football Club, looking to get back on track, and there they are out warming up before the game. Big game for Norwich City tonight, but there's plenty more coming up as well. We've got Darren Huckerby who's joined us as a virtual guest. We've got Chris Gorham who's out in the gantry, of course, and I'll be doing co-coms with him for Radio Norfolk. And we take a look inside the away dressing rooms with the kit men, plus, of course, all the latest team news. And joining me as always, Rob.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining me. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yourself?
Good. How's the running going on? You finished it now?
Yeah,
completed
finished it now. Yeah, we did.
You look trim, mate. Is
Thank
that the reason
you.
You're wearing black?
Black's good. Black's always a good one. Yeah, did 50 miles in 30 days with my daughter Harry, and we raised over 1,700 quid. So for the Alzheimer's dementia run for dementia. So it was a good cause. But I can honestly say I still don't like running.
You never did, mate. You never did.
Why run when you can pass the ball, mate?
Yeah, well, exactly. That ball does the work.
Absolutely,
exactly, mate. Yeah. Well, here's the Norwich City team. We'll bring you straight away to have a look at. One change: Placheta is in for Buendia, of course, who's got a 2-match suspension. 2-match because of the accumulation of the sending-offs he's had so far this season. So that's the one sort of major change. McLean is back in the squad on the bench today. But good to have him back as well, Rob. He's been really influential for Norwich this season.
I think alongside Skip, those two have been really influential in Norwich's good form over the last 5 or 6 games. But Root was doing well before he got injured. So I've got no problem with him going back in the team as well.
Yeah, look, it's never a welcoming place at Millwall, is it?
No.
Really?
No.
But here's what happened the last time that Norwich went to the Den.
To Hernandez, who's seen plenty of it for Norwich early on. Corner of the area to Buendia, and Hernandez has raced into the penalty area and could score. Great save from the goalkeeper. Rebound from Stiepermann, driven into the net. The roar from the 3,000 Norwich City supporters now is heard around the Den because Marco Stiepermann has just fired Daniel Farker's team in front with a flourish. Towards the final minute of this first half, has some defending to do. Ferguson's corner drilled in low, helped on by Morrison, and it's been headed in by Williams, and there's the equaliser.
At this stage of the game, McCann forward.
Buendia's corner from the right, Zimmerman's header, and he stunted it into the net. Christoph Zimmerman's first league goal in more than a year, and Norwich City have beaten Millwall at their own game. Brings it up towards the halfway line. Finds Buendia. Buendia through the middle looking for Pukki. Oh, Pukki's got away from the two defenders. Can he score? He can! Teemu Pukki's first real opening of the second half. He went between the two Millwall centre-backs, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, an angled finish, and now he leads the celebrations in front of that packed away end. A crucial goal, another precious Pukki moment. Millwall 1, Norwich 3, and Pukki has got his...
Now, it's always a pretty intimidating place to go, particularly the old Den. I mean, have you played there, Rob?
Yeah. I never played in the new one. I played in the old one. That was pretty scary. Scary just like arriving at the ground, really, let alone playing there. But like I say, it's an intimidating place to go, but with no fans, it's not as intimidating.
Would that make it easier for Norwich tonight?
I think so, 100%, because Millwall depend on the vociferous fans that they've got.
Good word.
Thank you. Did I said it well as well, didn't I? So it's a tough place, and it was always a tough place with their fans behind them as well. And so they didn't allow Millwall to drop below anything other than good, basically. So hopefully it will be a good leveller today, and Norwich will have enough.
Yeah, and the transfer window is shut, thankfully. Norwich have managed to hold on to the players they wanted to hold on to. They've brought in another goalkeeper, Orjan Nyland, of course, who's come in. He's injured at the moment, so he won't play straight in the team, but obviously he'll be in the squad as quickly as possible. But that was something we talked about before, about having that little bit of experience, isn't it? Because as well as Barden's done, he hasn't got the experience that Nyland has got.
No, and who's to say he's coming in as the number two? Barden's done well enough to be the number two. So a manager always wants three goalkeepers, and what he's got there, he has got a bit of an experienced goalkeeper coming in to back up Tim Krul, but they now know they've got two keepers that they can put on the bench.
Yeah, and we can see the ins and outs that Norwich have had in the transfer window, and then we can see Giannoulis, of course, started against Middlesbrough last week, and you've got Situ and Soto back from on loan, have been recalled and going out. Bashiri and Simon Powers off on a permanent deal to Harrogate. Carlton Morris has gone permanently to Barnsley, and Tyrese has gone out on loan to Swindon Town. So, it's those youngsters getting them out, isn't it? Not much business done by anyone really, but from Norwich's point of view, a very quiet window. But that's because they did all their work in the summer and retained the players they need to. That's the important. It's not so much the ins, is it, for Norwich? It's about the outs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tyrese makes sense completely, because he had the taste of being in around the first team. That stopped him playing for the 23, so he probably wasn't getting no minutes. So for him to go out to a club like Swindon, and it's a good club, to get some minutes there is going to be fantastic experience for him.
And Daniel Farker's talked about the club as well, and putting him in a position of, we can see the quote here, I doubt if we will ever be able to spend as much money as we want, but you must be smart, and we don't want to sell the soul of this club. So he's got a remit, of course, but your manager's got to understand that, because any manager coming into any football club would say, well, I want a budget, you better go and buy who I like. But he really works well with Stuart Webber and the club behind the scenes to make sure they are bringing the right type of person and doing things the right way, which seems right for Norwich City Football Club, which isn't right for all other football clubs, is it? They do it in a very different way.
Absolutely, and like I say, Daniel and Stuart work so well together. Daniel knows his remit, Stuart knows his remit from the people above him. And what have they got wrong in the last 2 or 3 years? Not many, if any. I mean, the people the players that have come in, the money that they've made from the players that have gone, the young players. I mean, Buendia, Buki, just named but two really. Those are going to be sold on in the next. If they go, hopefully they stay. But if they do go, they're going to be a massive, massive profit. So they've got a good reputation and experience for identifying players, not necessarily that other clubs deem as good enough to come in, but they have put their neck on the lines that we think they're good enough to come in, and they've proven over the last 2 years they've done well.
Has it been a good transfer window for Norwich? Because for every club, there's a reluctance to go out and spend money on big players. So for Norwich as a team and holding on to the players they want to hold on to, has it been a little easier in this window because no one's really done any business because of the current situation? I think we had a conversation in the last game, the last time we were here. We said, do Norwich need to go and get anyone? We said no. They don't need to go anywhere. They're top of the league. They're top of the league by 4 points. They've got the best squad in the division. The best squad, not the best team, the best squad. And when we say squad, 16, 17 players, 18 players, and 19, 20 if you count the young ones coming in. So they didn't have to do it. So what they've done, they've tinkered a bit. They've allowed some of the young ones to go out on loan. And the two that have come back, that have been on loan, hopefully they would have had the first team experience in their respective leagues. So hopefully they will add to the squad as well.
touch wood, they don't get no injuries. They went through that period. So Norwich didn't have to do no work. The other teams chasing them had to do the work to get them better, to get up to Norwich's level. They haven't done that. So hopefully in the second half of the season, Norwich will just go from strength to strength.
They did add Giannoulis, left back, lots of experience and someone they're looking to sign, hopefully if he does well enough and strengthen them if they get into the promised land of the Premier League. Difficult for him to come into at Middlesbrough, wasn't it? I mean, that was you know what Warnock's going to give you, a game like that.
Probably, with Middlesbrough losing, I think they lost the home game 2-3-0 the game before Norwich, and that was probably the worst result for Norwich because he would have set them up basically to defend. And I watched on the TV and they had man-to-man on Buendia, man-to-man on Campbell, and they just suffocated the whole game basically. It was not a great spectacle to watch, but hey, listen, it was a point. It was a point to go with all the away wins they've had and whatever. Like, sometimes these happen.
But you don't often see someone chucked straight in at the deep end nowadays at the club, do you? Especially coming from abroad, they give him a bit of time to settle. But he was chucked straight in, kind of the deep end, really.
Giannoulis is a good player, mate. Giannoulis is a good player. You mean I've seen him. I've done some work on him as well. Like, you know what I mean, and he's highly rated in Greece. I think he's the number one in front of the guy that went to Liverpool, the Greek left back. So he's the number one. So he's ahead of him, really. So I think it's a real astute piece of business. If they go up, they sign him. But if they go up, they're going to need people like that, of that quality. His first game is always going to be a tough one, like you say, against Neil Warnock's team. Is tough for everyone. But he will grow and he will add quality to that back line, which has been nothing short of outstanding for the first half of the season.
Yeah, and what they have added over this season as well, not through choice at sometimes, is some of those youngsters. And we can speak to someone now who's got a lot of knowledge about the youngsters in Norwich City. And that's Darren Huckerby, who's joining us from his home. Hux, we've talked about the youngsters quite a lot in Norwich City, but how much more important is it going to be for Norwich now? Because, you know, we talked about the Timo Pukki transfer, and I'm not sure if how many people are aware, but under the current regulations now with Brexit, Timo Pukki would not have been able to sign for Norwich because the Finnish game is not seen as good enough and they wouldn't have scored enough points for him to come. So how much more importance is there going to be now on the youngsters at Norwich?
I think at this present time there's going to be quite a bit, but I think that football will find a way where they'll be able to buy players from abroad because there's too much money involved, there's too much money in the Premier League. So for the time being, I think people will have to be a bit more careful, but you know what football's like. You know, it's a monster, and it's all about the money. So eventually they'll find a way where they'll be able to get players from abroad, I think.
Yeah, and those youngsters we have talked about so far this season, Huxley have done so well. I mean, Tyrese has gone out on loan now, but every single youngster's come into the side has not let themselves down, have they? You know, that shows the quality that Norwich have got within the youngsters, and that's a good advert for anybody that would join the club as well, isn't it? To show that Norwich go about things the right way.
Yeah, when you've got two players that are playing week in week out, as in, Cantwell and Max Aarons, it's good for people who are looking at the club thinking, where's the progression? There's obviously a progression. If you're good enough, you will play in our first team. So whether they will stay here, who knows? But there is definitely a pathway from the 16s to the 18s to the 23s to the first team. So that's a progression that Stuart Webber has worked well to bring into the club.
And someone we will always talk about is Emi Buendia. We're both huge fans of his in terms of the quality he's got, Hux. But I do love watching you on social media when you say something about him and then the pelters you get back. And you obviously explain yourself very eloquently and tell people your reasons behind what you're saying. But he's that type of player, isn't he? Because it's difficult to take that out of him. But every now and again, I guarantee, and I know what your answer is going to be, Neil Warnock would have said straight before that game, wouldn't he, get stuck into Emi Buendia.
Yeah, that's what used to happen years and years gone by. Rob Newman would tell you that he would have been in people's faces, pinching, kicking, biting, whatever they had to do. I think Emi was a little bit unlucky on Saturday. It was a too harsh yellow card, if I'm going to be honest. But my problem was, if you're already on a yellow card and you cannot win the ball, why slide in? You're asking the referee to make a decision, and it went against him this time. But it's not the first time, is it? It's the fourth time he's been sent off. I think it's the third time in 6 months. He does play on the edge, but he's also our best player. And we've got two big games coming up now that we could have done with him, especially the Swansea game, which I think will be a football match more than a battle. Tonight might be a bit of a battle like it was Saturday. But we needed him for the Swansea game, and now we've lost one of our best players. So it's all right in playing on the edge, but sometimes he's got to put the team first. Yeah,
and I think that's the point, isn't it, Hux? I think the frustrations are because he is such an influence on this team and such a great player. Like when things are so tight at the top, you want your best players playing week in, week out. And for And to be like you said, I think for no fault of his own, really, on Saturday he's got himself in a position where he's got sent off through being wound up, probably more than anything else. So, but that's the type of player he is, isn't it? I mean, I can't say anything. I mean, I got sent off 5 times in my career. It's almost like he needs a bit of that in him to be the player he is. And if you take that out, he wouldn't be the player he is. So I think we kind of have to cut him a bit of slack.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was probably a little bit frustrating on Saturday, the way they man-marked him a little bit. Same with Todd. It's probably the first time I've seen it where Todd Cantwell and Buendia were completely ineffective, and that don't normally happen. But he's a good player, and as you know, Jockey, good players get kicked, good players get bad tackles, good players get a bit more pressure put on them. So you've got to be able to deal with that, because when he does step up, it's something you've got to be over. You've got to be in control of what you're doing at all times. If not, you're a waste of time to the team. So hopefully we'll learn from it, because we all know how good a player is. You've just got to stay on the right side of not doing something silly week in, week out, because other teams will know what to do. Just wind him up.
Yeah, but they have got the quality in the side now, and in the squad in particular, as Rob just said a little while ago, Huxler, the strength and depth Norwich have got now. You look at Norwich's bench again tonight. Then Pacheta comes in for Buendia tonight. They've got Hernandez on the bench. There's McLean on the bench. They've got players that can come on and make a difference. And the Championship side, I mean, that's pretty rare to have that much quality sitting on your bench.
Yeah, we're very lucky, but also it's very good planning. You might have expected we're going to lose probably a Todd Cantwell or a Max Aarons or a Buendia at the start of the season. Luckily for us and what's going on with the world finances, it didn't happen. So it just makes us stronger. We've got no excuse not to be looking at top 2 in this league, because we've got strength in depth. We've got a first 11 that are good enough to beat anybody on the day. So, it's for us to lose now. So we just got to keep pushing on and keep putting other teams under pressure.
Yeah, top stuff, Hux. We'll speak to you at half-time. Thanks for joining us. Well, it is, but I think we get a bit carried away with ourselves, don't we? It's much easier now. When you were playing a game, you kind of think about, you take every game as it comes. You never get too carried away when you're top of the league, and you never get too disappointed when you lose a game, of course. You stay a little more balanced. But now we're sitting here, and the way they are, your emotions are different, aren't they? But you've got to be realistic. The Norwich aren't going to do it throughout the season without losing games and dropping points.
No.
But they're still top of the league.
Absolutely, and thoroughly deserved as well. They've been the best team. Like I say, there will be bumps along the way, and even the best teams in the world get bumps along the way. But it's how they react to those bumps. And Norwich, as long as they don't go on a run of 2 or 3 or 4 straight defeats, which I don't think they will, they've got enough quality in there. Like Darren has just said, they are the best team, the best squad. So there's no reason why they shouldn't finish in the top 2.
No, we've got the highlights. I'll say highlights of the Middlesbrough game. It wasn't a particularly great game for either team, but we can have a look at these here and we can talk over the top. And Norwich still were a better team, the quality wise they had and had the better chances. But this was an early chance with Vrancic he had. He scores that, becomes a completely different game, doesn't it? Because Middlesbrough have to come out and try and get something. We should have played, I think, probably into Norwich's hands. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see the future games, because future opponents would have seen this and they say, listen, let's block Todd Cantwell, let's block Buendia, and Norwich become ordinary. So other players have got to step up, but Buendia and Cantwell have got to step up as well. You know what I mean? Like I say, good players, the best players in the world. De Bruyne gets man-marked every week, but he still produces.
Yeah.
So these two have got to know the game, and if that's the way teams think they're going to beat Norwich, by blocking the 2 best playmakers out, they're going to have to learn to how to react to that, or other players have got to step up and be the creative players.
That's what I was going to say. It's about those other players as well, isn't it, in the team?
Absolutely. Vrancic is a good player. Pukki's a good player. They're all good players. Skip's a good player. McLean's a good player. They're all good players. So when those 2 are out of the scene because they're getting marked, other people have got to do it. But I agree with Huxley. Why go to ground? He doesn't need to go to ground there, really. But like I say, that's not a yellow card. That's not a yellow card, but Middlesbrough have done their job there. They've got up, they've berated the official and got him sent off. So that was unlucky, but they've got to learn how to do this. And like I say, opponents will see, let's block Cantwell, let's block Buendia, the 2 best players in that team, and they will see that as a way of beating Norwich.
Yeah.
And Norwich
goals change games, though, don't they? Like say, if Norwich had scored early on, that would have been a very different game.
Absolutely. If Vrancic does go, and it does.
And that's what Middlesbrough are limited to.
Yeah, I know.
One shot from range at 25 yards doesn't even trouble the goalkeeper, and that's what they were doing up against. You could see the format of the game, but Norwich can't expect to win every game.
No, they won't. And like I say, there will be bumps in the road. There will be defeats along the way. But I'm telling you that I believe that there won't be enough defeats for them to get sucked back into the pack.
Yeah, well, we hope so. And somebody else who was here watching the game on Saturday against Middlesbrough, and of course doing the commentary, was Chris Gorham. And I caught up with him just a little earlier on. Chris Gorham, thanks for joining me again. Now, we're at your usual vantage point tonight. Not much to see here tonight. We're bringing Co-Coms away to Millwall. But you're here for the Middlesbrough game. What did you make of the game?
I thought it was very similar to when the sides last met at the Riverside, when Norwich did win the game, but only with a Teemu Pukki penalty. When you're up against the Neil Warnock team in the Championship, you know they're going to make it as difficult as possible for you. And while we look at everything through yellow and green spectacles and we talk about everything from a Norwich perspective, sometimes we forget about the opposition and you don't look at what they're doing enough. And they came here to stop Norwich's creative players from playing, and they did a really good job. Middlesbrough would have been delighted with that point, and I thought they deserved it. They really did a good job on Norwich. But the fact Norwich, even though it was frustrating, even though they were down to 10 men, the fact they still didn't lose, I actually, in the end, took a bit of encouragement from that.
Yeah, and all eyes are on Giannoulis, of course, starting at left back for Norwich, chucked in at the deep end, really. What did you make of his performance?
Well, you don't get any more Championship than up against the Neil Warnock team, do you? So, yes, the deep end is right. And I think, again, it is tempting to rush to judgment on whether a player is brilliant or no good straight away. But he's going to need time. I always think about when Mario Vrancic and Marco Stiepermann first came. And it took them 6 months. Even that first season, we didn't really see the best of them. So a new player, new country, new club, we've got to be patient and give him time to develop into the player that everybody thinks he can be, because he's got a great reputation.
And how important is the game tonight? Because after the Middlesbrough game and with Swansea coming up next, it's a vital for Norwich to get that win tonight, isn't it?
Well, I thought this felt like a big week, starting with Middlesbrough and then these two games. If Norwich had a good week, if they'd won all three, they would have been in such a strong position. That's not going to happen now, and it's got much more difficult without Emi Buendia. But Millwall away, Swansea away, there are still points to be won. If they can get a good return, 4 to 6 points from the next couple of games, they are going to be in such a strong position at the top of the table.
And we always get carried away as supporters, don't we? Because when we get so in the table, you kind of think you get so high when they win, and when they lose, you think it's disaster. But this is going to be like this for the rest of the season, isn't it? Norwich is not going to win every single game, so we have to expect these results to come along occasionally.
Absolutely, and we've got some massive games to come, haven't we? That Swansea game on Friday, without wishing to dismiss the Millwall game, the Swansea game is going to feel massive. We've still got Brentford to come here, haven't we? Nights like that, as the season goes on, this latter stage of the season, when you know who's where in the table, the games always feel that much more exciting. We know exactly what's at stake. So the fact Norwich are up there, we are in for a fascinating 3 or 4 months now.
But if you could pick a place for Norwich to be at this point of the season, you want to be top of the league, wouldn't you? With 4 points clear.
And what is it? 2 defeats in 22 league games. There's not a lot to complain about. Disappointing that they didn't beat Middlesbrough, but they didn't lose. They are in such a strong position.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed for a big win tonight. Chris, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in a little while on Co-Coms.
Cheers, Darren.
Of course, it is a bit dark here at Carrow Road tonight. We've got the grass growing machines on again, Rob, tonight. I might go down there later on just to put my head under it again, keep my hair growing.
Is that what you got on your lawn?
Impressive though, isn't it? But it's weird being kind of at Carrow Road for an away game.
Yeah, it is. You mean, like I say, but we watch on the telly, it's good. Like I say, so we'll just enjoy it in front of the telly, mate.
Yeah, now, no more FA Cup this season. We can see some, Jordan Hugo played a big part in the Cup so far this season, the goals he's scored. And it's frustrating that he's going to be missing for the next few weeks. He's picked up, I think, a hamstring injury, but he's just finding his feet a little bit, isn't he? When Pukki was out for a little while, he came in, he scored a few goals, and then he just picks up a little injury. But the one thing Norwich have got, Adam Eadie's back now. Yeah. So, all of a sudden, again, it shows that strength in depth for Norwich.
Yeah, different type of player. I think, like I say, we were a bit critical of Hugo early on in the season about his sort of effectiveness in the team. But these goals, I think it was against Bristol City, that showed what sort of a good player is. If he put the balls in the box, he'll get on the end of them. So to lose him really, like you say, after scoring a couple of goals or on a bit of a goal streak as well, it's a shame. But like you say, Adam Eadie has come back into the team, young kid, sort of like he's had his injury problems, must be chomping at the bit to get on the pitch, but a different type of player. More pace than what Hugo's got, but like you say, he'll chase him in the channel. So they're different types of player, but still a good player replacing one that's injured.
Yeah, and out of the FA Cup, who cares?
We care. We care. You mean, like I say, I knew you was going to ask me this question. You know what I mean? So I was thinking about the question.
If you're sitting top of the league where Norwich are at the moment,
exactly.
You're not too disappointed, are you? To be honest,
people will say we would have liked the good cup run, but I'm saying, well, would we honestly have won it? I don't think we would have won it. Basically, there would have been always one top team in there. So to get out of it now, I think is good. There will be times where teams can rest. They won't be playing those extra games. So I don't think it will do the team no harm at all.
Yeah.
And diplomatic answer.
But what do you really think?
I'm like you. I don't care them not being out of the cup.
Yeah.
If they win the league at the end of come May, whenever it finishes and they're top of the league. No one will worry about them losing in the FA Cup at Barnsley.
Yeah. Now, I think two of the most important men, particularly at Norwich, that we haven't talked about too much in the past, and someone I think people don't know too much about, is the kit men. They play a vital part in every single football club, don't they? And Norwich's are no different from anybody else's. And here's when I caught up with them just a little earlier. Well, thanks for joining us, Pete and John, all the way down at Millwall today. We've seen shots of the changing rooms, which is brilliant. Just, I mean, from my point of view as a footballer, just give us a sense of being a kit man, because for me it's a vitally important part of the changing rooms. It was so important to us as a player. The relationship between you guys and the players is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for us, we're both long-term fans from year one, and I think for us, you realise how important it is to the players. And for us, we just want to try and do everything we possibly can, just so that they come in and they just think about football and nothing else. There's a lot of pressure on modern-day footballers, particularly this year with all the games coming thick and fast. So it's just a question of making sure there's no last-minute, where's this, where's that. So, for us, but I think John will say the same. That's a privilege for us. We love doing the job we do because it's for the club we love,
Yeah, like carrying on where Pete was, it's just a massive privilege to be a massive part of this football club and be like part of the back room, like help set up, and it's really good.
Yeah, and I think people shouldn't underestimate as well the importance that you guys do have. I remember when I was playing, the kit man was a vital part of your social network as well. The players trusted the kit men and looked after them as well and let them really into the group, which is quite unusual. So just tell us a little bit about the places you've been this year, because it's not just change rooms you've had to dress, is it? Like today in particular, it's a sports hall. I mean, you've been to some pretty weird places this year.
Yeah, we said yesterday to the boss that we've had to step change. The one at Stoke was a gazebo. There's been some certainly interesting ones.
Yeah, and the sports halls is everything. I mean, you have really got to think on your feet this year, because for the players, definitely, they're going to come in their places and look around and be a bit sort of, a little bit surprised. So, I mean, John Boy does loads and loads with the photos and all the pictures, and working particularly hard this year to make sure it looks really homely and it looks like our domain and our dressing room rather than anyone else's.
And how choosy are the players on the pictures then? And how choosy are the pictures on the players? Because I know if I have my pictures next to my place, I'd want to know exactly what pictures I'm having. I might be a little bit fussy. Are the boys fussy about the pictures?
To be fair, Grant always wants a good-looking one. He also he looks for and wants to make sure there's a good-looking one of him. So
I done one a few weeks ago. Came back into the office and Pete said, "Oh, Grant's going to rip the photo off."
Yeah, they like to look. Fair enough.
So who come up with the idea in the first place then to just dress the changing rooms like a home changing room when you went away? Because I've not seen any other team do it.
So we played Leeds away, I think it was, and then there was only about 3 or 4 photos, and then we actually played Millwall 2 years ago, and my dad suggested, and I was thinking, and I said to Pete, man, we were a bit like, an hour, and we'd done it for a go, and it went down really well, so we've sort of stuck with it since.
And it has grown. It started with a few pictures and a few little wordings, and then it's grown and grown. And as I say, I think we are pretty unique. I think a lot of the other kit men say that they're now being asked, could they do the same sort of thing? But it is definitely, you go to a different place today, with no disrespect to Millwall, you're in a sports hall, it looks totally alien to what normal football is. But when you look at what's set up, and it's all photos, green and yellow, and Norwich all the way through, they're marginal differences that we need at the moment, and everything I think counts. So I think it's I think particularly in the championship, everyone's under more financial pressure, so some of the facilities are not as like your Liverpools or your Man United or your Man City, so they are a little bit more down to earth. So it's just a question of making it ours rather than theirs.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's fantastic. We love seeing it on NR1 Live, and I'm sure the fans do at home. It's an insight into seeing how footballers have to, I guess, deal with these different environments that they're going into, and you guys do a fantastic job. So keep that up. Thanks for joining us. Good luck for the game, and we'll see you soon back at a home game with a bit of luck.
Okay, cheers, thank you.
Yeah, apologies for the quality of the Zoom call there. It wasn't fantastic, but great lads. And they play a crucial part in the environment, don't they?
Absolutely.
I think when we had Jock, particularly at our time at Norwich, he was a law unto himself. But generally, kitmen, when I was at Leicester, he was out with us socialising on nights out. So it shows how important they are.
They are a massive part of any first team squad. Like you say, any little things that the players want, it's always the name of the kit man that gets ringing around the dressing room or whatever. But just some of the things there, like, I mean, and it's a fantastic concept, basically putting the chairs and the pictures by, I'm telling you 100%, Flecky or Sutty, if that was done with them, we'd go in there and there would be different pictures by different chairs. I'm telling you, 100%, they would go in there early.
Moustaches drawn
they would go in there early, and that would be like, it would be demolished. You know what I mean? And the kitman would come out and say, let's see what I've done. And like, you know what I mean? Gunny would be behind me, like, you know what I mean? Like, FN would be behind you, Robert would be. They would. That was all part and parcel of it. So obviously they've got a different mentality now, these players. And don't get me wrong, if this gives them that energy, and like you say, in these surreal times when they're not changing in proper changing rooms, in sports halls and whatever, for them to make it feel like a dressing room can only be such a good thing. But it does make me laugh, like on thinking about it, what it would have been like in our days.
And a good-looking picture of Grant Hanley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does it still exist?
No.
That's what he said. Grant, he said that. He said that. He's bigger than me.
He's the quickest man in the do, so he's going to be able to catch you as well, by the way.
I mean, you got any sort of stories? I remember playing down at Harrowby. You'd have played at the same time as well. We went there mid-summer. And bearing in mind, it's this old best stadium I've ever played in. It was the Art Deco stadium, beautiful marbled floors. And you go into the changing rooms, and this underfloor heating was on at the prime time, middle of the summer. And it was absolutely roasting, wasn't it? But they were the little tactics teams would use to just in the changing rooms to put you off.
Yeah, no, and so like Kitman, like a real sort of like integral parts and whatever, like, but that was just the opponents trying to get one over on you. That was nothing to do with your kit man and whatever. One little quick story I'll try and say, when we went to the Cayman Islands in Jock and we had to play Jamaica, and sort of like Jamaica playing obviously green and yellow, and Jock never took a change of kit. So we've ended up saying, Jock, what are you doing? It's obvious they're playing yellow, but we ended up playing in some local under-15s white kit with trout.
Exactly. When you say under-15s, was it under-15s? It looked more like an under-12s on you, mate, because it was like a crop top, wasn't it, if I remember rightly, on you.
But listen, Kitman, and they love their job. They love their job. I'm not sure about John Boy's haircut. You know, I mean, what he's done there. But they love their job, and fair play to them. They are 100% behind that team, and the team recognise that. And like you say, they will be with them in the good and bad things. So, like, I mean, sometimes when players are down, it's the kit man that lifts them, like you know what I mean? So I've got unbelievable amount of praise for those two.
Yeah, the Norwich guys are great guys as well, and they have to have a personality to be in and around that change room with the lads. You've got to be strong. You've got to be strong.
And it's interesting what Pete was saying there as well. Other teams are starting to copy them now. So, hey, listen, they were the first ones to start it. And like I say, fair play to them. But they will be given a lot of stick in that dressing room. But like I say, they are massively important.
Yeah, OK, well, we're going to throw to the game down at Millwall now. And there's a minute's silence for Captain Sir Tom Moore. Take care. We'll see you after the game.
Swimming at night, she been calling on me. Hold my breath in the pool, but she been underwater in the Indian Sea. I've been doing it right, can't forget what she said. When you're finished with you, babe, you should come and